Good morning, Stewart's Chapel. Brother Don Pierson here and Don Counts. And it's Monday, and we are back here at the Harris's beautiful place for Monday's devotion. We're continuing our look at men and women who finished well. And so we're in Luke, back in the New Testament, Luke 2, early on, in Luke 2:25. And we encounter a man named Simeon, a prophet. And behold, there was a man in Jerusalem whose name was Simeon. And this man was just and devout, waiting for the consolation of Israel, or the coming of the Messiah. And the Holy Spirit was upon him. And it had been revealed to him by the Holy Spirit that he would not see death before he had seen the Messiah, the Lord's Christ. So he came by the Spirit into the temple. And when the parents brought in the child, Jesus, to do for him according to the custom of the law, he, Simeon, took Jesus up in his arms and blessed God and said, Lord, now you are letting your servant depart in peace. In other words, I've come to the end. This has been my desired goal, according to your word. For my eyes have seen your salvation, which you have prepared before the face of all peoples, a light to bring revelation to the Gentiles, and the glory of your people Israel. And Joseph and his mother marveled at those things which were spoken of him. Then Simeon blessed them and said to Mary, his mother, behold, this child is destined for the fall and rising of many in Israel, and for a sign which will be spoken against. Yes, a sword will pierce through your very own soul also, that the thoughts of many hearts may be revealed. There's a lot of messages in there about who Jesus is, and I challenge you to look at those. But in staying with our theme about men and women who finish well, Simeon is of old. He's an old man. Sometime earlier in his life, he made a decision to serve the Lord and to be devout. God honored him with a calling and a gift. That calling was to be a messenger to Joseph and Mary. That's his only audience, by the way. You and I just end up being receiving it. But when you think about it, Simeon's calling was to two people, to Joseph and Mary. Jesus is just a child, a very small child. He had a calling. He had a promise. That promise was that he would see. He would see. Before he finished, he would see the Lord's Christ, the Messiah. Now, I don't know how many years have passed since he had this incredible word from God. The Bible makes it clear he was very devout. He loved the Lord. He was filled with the Holy Spirit. And by the way, at that time, that wasn't a common thing. That was a very rare thing. Much less, usually if the Holy Spirit was, you were full of the Holy Spirit at that time, it was a moment in time. But this man seemed to live in the fullness of the Holy Spirit. That's even more rare in that particular time. But here's the point that I want to leave with you. How many of us, you and me, would be faithful to God with a promise that we go day by day without seeing? Most would lose hope. Most would return to their old life. Most would stop looking. You see, the truth is, as Christians, we have a promise very similar to that. We have a promise that Jesus is coming back again. That is our hope. We hold on to that. The truth is, many Christians have held on to that throughout the centuries. And so far, none of them have saw it in that way. You and I haven't seen it in that way. Most stop being faithful. You see, ending well isn't just about a calling and your ability to fulfill it. Ending well is more about keeping your faith when your calling and life and your inability to see the promise of God around you. Finish well, Stewart's Chapel. Love you.